What's going on, you guys? It's Scott from Fly Rides, back again today with another electric bike review. 2021 bikes are finally coming out, which means I get to review more bikes. Hooray! That means I'm riding around all day, and today I am checking out the Gazelle Medeo T10 Plus. This is a 28 mile per hour commuter, a class 3 Bosch Generation 4 performance speed motor that was pretty impressive. In addition to those class 3 speeds, you've got Dutch design from Gazelle. They have some of the most refined designs in the electric commuting bike market, all for a price of just $34.99. So pretty impressive stuff just right out the box, but of course we have to check out a full review. Like this video, you guys, and subscribe to this channel, the Fly Rides Electric Bikes channel, so that you can stay up to date on all the goings on in the electric bike world, because I got the hot goss for you, and you're not gonna wanna miss it if you are interested in e-bikes. Let's check out the Gazelle Medeo T10 Plus. You guys know what we do first in these videos. Let's talk about specs, baby.
Let's talk about specs, baby.
Headlining this bike is going to be the Bosch Generation 4 performance speed motor with 85 Newton meters of torque, because you are going to have that new software from Bosch that gives you that 85 Newton meters, making this one of the strongest motors on the market.
Plus, Gazelle is taking advantage of Bosch's ability to have a dual battery system. You can add a second battery to double your range on the Gazelle Medeo T10 Plus.
All in a class 3 package, meaning you are getting speeds up to 28 miles per hour. This Bosch motor specifically is also assisting you even more from 20 to 28 miles per hour than you were getting on previous generations. So a really solid setup. This is all tied together with one of my favorite displays, the Bosch Purion display. You just have a little thumb display off to the side there. You don't need a ton of information. It's gonna give you what level you're in, how much battery you have left, and all that, and how fast you're going. So Bosch Purion display for me is plenty. Gazelle has also set you up with a Shimano Dior derailleur, 10 speeds on this, an 11 to 42 tooth cassette in the back. This is a pretty standard setup for bikes in this price range, and there's a reason it's a standard setup, is because it works pretty well, so I'm into it. The Groupset is rounded off with 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes from Shimano, which is not something you see on most commuters in this price range. You're getting 4-piston hydraulic disc brakes on this, on a 180 millimeter rotor in the front and a 160 in the back, which means you are gonna have incredible stopping power, which is nice when you think about the power that that Bosch Class 3 motor is going to give you and the speeds you're likely gonna be traveling at. So that is how that Groupset is rounded out. It's gonna be a full Shimano setup. On the comfort side of things, they have always been very good, Gazelle has. You have that adjustable stem. It's the same one that comes on the level up from this one, the Gazelle Ultimate T10 Plus. This is a very useful thing to have, especially, I don't know if you're sharing between a couple people, but it just gives you a built-in way to adjust it to your liking. A lot of people switch over, especially on commuters, to adjustable stems, so it's nice just to have it right out of the box. You're also getting a Suntour Mobi fork, plenty for a commuting bike, and then you're still getting pretty wide tires. So they're not the plus-size tires that some people have been kind of into lately, but what I like about Gazelle is they're not doing the plus-size tires. When I'm commuting, I want something a little bit quicker. These are nice. They're the Schwalbe Big Apple with some extra added puncture protection. They're still 50C wide. It's 1.97 inches, so still some decent comfort on there, but you're not losing so much speed as you do on some of the really fat tire commuters, which I don't know if it's always necessary. Some people like it, not necessarily for me. Of course, as Gazelle is wont to do, they have sprinkled in all sorts of little extra amenities for you. Don't take these for granted, because a lot of people don't do them. The ones I always like to point out are those ergon grips. You're getting the GP1 grips on here, which are super comfortable. Probably my favorite features, though, are the integrated lights front and rear from AXA, and of course, a cafe lock. You guys know I love a cafe lock. It's so convenient if you're just leaving the bike outside for just a second, just to hop inside. You're gonna have an eye on it, but you just don't want someone to wheel away with it. You're getting unpacked, whatever it is. I love a cafe lock, so I really dig that they're still throwing these on there. And also, if you're locking your bike up long term, it's just a nice added security feature that you're not really paying extra for. In the back, you've got the rear carrier from MIK. This is going to be a system that you can get accessories that kind of lock on there from MIK. That MIK rack can carry up to 60 pounds of weight as well, which is huge. This is another thing that Gazelle also does very well, is they always find racks that can carry a ton of gear, because the realities are that you're going to be carrying a lot of gear if you're commuting by e-bike. The frames are going to come in a standard step-over frame and a mid-step. That's the one behind me right here. That is what I rode. The frame sizes should fit riders anywhere from 5'3" to about 6'3", and you probably have a little bit of wiggle room on either end of the spectrum there as well. So pretty solid setup for a wide variety of riders. And again, for $34.99, it is definitely competing with that Gazelle Ultimate T10 Plus. But of course, you can't just build a bike around specs. It's got to ride really well. So let's break into the ride review, talk a little bit more about it. So to be totally honest, I can sum up the ride experience pretty quickly for you. It's good. See you later. Just kidding, but it is a really good ride. I would say both the Gazelle Ultimate T10 Plus and the Gazelle Medeo T10 Plus both represent probably the best value, the bang for your buck value in terms of ride feel on the market right now. So $34.99 for the Medeo T10 Plus, and the Gazelle Ultimate T10 Plus is going to be $39.99. But both of these bikes represent a solid value. Of course, we're talking about the Medeo T10 Plus today. The handling feels smooth and agile, but not at the expense of having any squirreliness in the front, which is a pretty common problem, especially for bikes that keep you as upright as this bike can, especially with that adjustable stem. I definitely utilized that. It was really nice to be able to just bring it back a little bit, have my arms not so stretched out, but you can be in a more aggressive position as a result of the adjustable stem as well. If you want to be, you just got to put it a little bit more forward. The Bosch Generation 4 speed motor, even more incredible, obviously, with the 85 Newton meters of torque. It basically makes hills negligible at this point. You don't even feel them. The 10-speed derailleur, you know, maybe you would want an 11-speed or something like that, but again, with the Bosch Generation 4 motor, you don't really need it. 11 to 42 is plenty. Gazelle designs are always incredible. I have been a fan for years. It's the bike I own. I still have a Citizen T10 Speed. They look like standard bikes, which is always an added bonus to me. I think a lot of people, you know, they want their bike to blend in. Maybe some people are like, you know, they like that boxy look of certain bikes, but I really like the Gazelle. It's like a refined look to it. You just feel like, you know, you're on a standard bike, which I really appreciate. There's other things within the design that you might not think about if you haven't ridden a ton of electric bikes, but I can tell you, for instance, the stainless steel fenders that are like automatically sized already. There's not any sort of like on the SKS fenders where you got to kind of finagle them every now and then. They are just standard. They're not going to move around on you. They fit the bike exactly right. It's nice to have those stainless steel fenders in there. The rack, again, I'll mention that again. 60 pounds is an incredible amount of weight and definitely something you would want. And then just overall, just the things that they pay attention to, again, grips and all that. It just shows that they really care for attention to detail, and they're not just kind of flopping a bike together and just shooting it out into the market. They really think about these things. So really appreciate that from Gazelle. One thing I will mention is they switched to a bottom-loading battery. Might have been a cheaper design, might be my guess. You do have to be very careful with this battery cover. You really got to make sure it's in there properly on, like give it a good tug before you go for a ride, because you don't want that falling off mid-ride. It's something that a lot of the bottom-loading battery covers have had. It's not a problem if you know how to put the battery cover on there. You just got to put it in there super hard and crank it down correctly, and you just got to know that it's on there before you go. So there's really not a reason not to buy this bike that I can think of. Again, $34.99. When you look at comparable bikes from Trek, for instance, you're looking at like an additional $3,000 for a very similar, if not completely similar bike. So you're saving a ton of money by going from Gazelle. I don't know how they have a Class 3 commuter at this price. It's not common at all. I mean, even like when it was Gen 2 motors, it's generally going to be at least $39.99. So the cost on this one alone is enough to get you interested. I mean, you should definitely be considering this bike if you are looking at Class 3 commuters. The only thing that I would say that kind of compares to it in terms of price range and performance, again, is that Ultimate T10 Plus. So you've got some decisions to make there. There's a better derailleur on the T10 Plus and stuff like that. It just depends on where you find, like, you know, where you think the important differences are. So if it's worth it to you to have, you know, slightly better derailleur and definitely some better integrated lights and stuff on the Ultimate T10 Plus, spend the extra $500 and go with that. But if you're just looking to kind of break into the market, you're not going to do much better than $34.99 on the Medeo T10 Plus. It rides great, it's spec'd out well, and Gazelle has a really solid tradition of making reliable, comfortable, just rideable bikes that you're gonna love riding, you're gonna wanna ride every day. So I highly recommend the Medeo T10 Plus. Again, I know I've said this 4 times, but that price point, you just cannot beat it. Like this video, you guys, and subscribe to the Fly Rides electric bike channel. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you're thinking about grabbing this bike. If you have any questions for me, I did ride it for about a month. So yeah, I guess you could say I know my way around it. Thanks for watching. We will see you next time. And until then, enjoy the ride.